Well, we made it. So
We
I
made
can hear
it. Can
you
you hear
just
me
fine. I
okay?
just need to situate my camera so it's not cutting my
Good.
head off. All right.
Okay. How are you
Hi,
this
Skylar.
afternoon?
Good to see you. Good to see you, Mr. Franklin. We're going to get started at 1 o'clock. We just got here a little early to make sure our technology was straight. Hello, Laverne. For God for Central for
Mm,
State. She's one of my alumnus at Central State University, and she's watching. Good to see you. Okay, they're joining us, and we should start exactly at 1 o'clock. So we'll just take a minute, and I can hear you just fine. I really appreciate your joining me.
I appreciate being here. Thank you. Such an important week for
Yes,
our
it is. It
profession.
is.
So,
I hope you all are feeling the
yeah,
love.
we
Good.
do. We do.
We got about 3 minutes until we get started. Hi, Joe. Thank you for watching. We'll start exactly at 1 o'clock, but we just wanted to get on a little early to make sure that we were technologically connected, and we did it. Well, we had a hard time this morning, though.
We
But
did.
practice makes it all worthwhile. Let me see something here. Nah, that's a little dark. Let me. Okay, there. That's a little better. It's not right in my face. Oh, we have 8 people. Let's see. Oh, hi, Bill Nugget. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Hope everybody's safe and fine. And I hope you're trying to practice
Mhm.
your social distancing, staying at home, wearing your mask, and all that good stuff. All are trying to adjust
Right.
to our remote lives now. And you know what? I miss of everything else, Dana. I miss hugging people. I haven't had a good hug. And what has it
I
been like a month
know.
and a half now?
I
So
know.
that's the big thing that I'm
Yeah, I
missing from
know.
all of this. The connection. We have to stay apart to stay together. So that's that's kind of how we have to
Right.
do it.
Exactly.
So we will be
Hmm.
started to everybody who's joined us at 1 o'clock sharp. We are just getting ourselves situated here and making sure everybody's heard and seen. Let me see you. Okay, now I can see you. The comments were on your face, so now I see you. Okay. Hello, William. William Ragatag. Okay, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be started maybe now in 1 minute. So stand by. I like to start on time and end on time, and people know me, they know if they they want to start at 1 o'clock. So so it's 1 o'clock. Thank you all for joining us. Those of you who got here early. This is not a test. I know we did several tests earlier today. We are live. This is Felicia Moore, your Atlanta City Council President, welcoming you to another Conversations with the Council President. And today I am not alone. I want to greet, welcome, and introduce to you all a wonderful lady. Her name is Miss Dana Roberts. She's Director of
Mm.
Operations for KIPP Woodson Park Academy. Thank you so much, Dana, for joining me.
Oh, thank you for asking and allowing me to
Well,
be
there's so
here.
much that we can talk about, as one who's supervising all the
Mm.
educators. First, tell everyone about KIPP Woodson Park and where they are, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm going to
Okay.
start with Kip Woodson Park because it's my absolute heart. Kip Woodson Park Academy is located off of Bankhead, Donnelly Hallwell in the Grove Park community. Um, We are a partner school with the Atlanta Public Schools. So KIPP Metro Atlanta and Atlanta Public Schools came to just have a new day at the pre-existing Woodson Park Academy. And we have over 650 scholars that we service. And the unique thing about KIPP Woodson Park Academy is that we are a neighborhood school. I know you hear that KIPP and it's normally associated with a charter school, but we are a true neighborhood school where all of our scholars come directly from the neighborhood. And we are anxiously awaiting our move to our new building, which will be located off of Bankhead Highway. And so, yeah, we are super excited. We miss our scholars immensely, but we are excited to just continue to work day to day. And as for me, I am Dana. I am born and raised in Atlanta, a true native ATLian. I am a product of Atlanta Public Schools, a very proud product, and proud to serve Atlanta Public Schools every day. And I'm sorry, and graduated from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And I have three wonderful children, and I live right here in Atlanta, serving in Atlanta and living in Atlanta. Very, very humble to do so.
Well, thank you. And you know what? I am so glad to hear that you are going to be the director. Now, I am in historic Collier Heights, so I'm right down the street from you.
Yes.
Also, I represented District 9, which the school sits in, for 20 years. And so I am so
Mm-hmm.
happy that all of the things that
Mm-hmm.
the neighbors are doing there in Grove Park and bringing this school. So I get to drive past there every once in a while and see what's going on. Thank you. So this is a special week
Mm-hmm.
for teachers. It's National Teachers Appreciation Week.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I want to tell you that I know parents truly, truly, truly appreciate teachers. If they have never appreciated them before with this
Mm-hmm.
remote learning, they have learned how difficult and how challenging and much patience that you need to teach. And so, on behalf of the city of Atlanta and
Mm-hmm.
all the parents out there, I want to extend my appreciation for your teachers. And tell us a little bit more about the Appreciation Week and what's been happening with you and your school and your teachers.
Well, I mean, you know what? I'm so thankful. Thank you for saying that. It really puts to rest the notion of those who can't do teach, and you know, teachers, this was a wonderful event anyway, this week, in any other circumstance. But especially in this circumstance, now we see that teachers have had to make real time adjustments with their lives, personal lives, to make sure that our scholars throughout the state, throughout the country, throughout the world, I mean, let's just really be real, are continuing to learn day to day end of school, and also really trying to make plans to remediate, to make sure we don't backslide from what we did learn this year. And so at Kip Woodson Park, we're honoring our teachers every day with special messages from, people all around the city. And we'll have a what we call a KWPA drive parade. That's social distancing appropriate. So our teachers will drive down in our bus lane, and they'll get all types of special goodies from our partners and from KIPP Metro Atlanta, and all of those types of celebrations around KIPP Metro Atlanta, and I'm sure around every district is happening this week, trying to show shine. We say shine in the KIPP world, show shine and just, gratitude, sincere gratitude for this profession. And I really want to drive home, it is a profession of teaching and loving and helping children learn and grow, not just instructionally, but social and emotionally. We have virtual lunch dates with our scholars via Zoom. So we're trying to do some other things, but Teacher Appreciation Week is extremely important, and it should happen
Mhm.
every day. And we know that sometimes it doesn't. But we're so grateful to you and to everyone for just acknowledging this week, especially given
Well,
the
I wish
current
I had an
circumstance.
apple. I would give it to you. So let me ask you this. We're dealing with COVID
Hmm.
19 and the pandemic. Kind of talk about, some of the challenges that you all have had with that, or even some of the new things that you've learned as you've tried to had to navigate the remote learning.
Well, honestly, the challenge has been really turning our organization, KIP Metro Atlanta, into a virtual learning organization. And that is what had to happen. And it happened very rapidly and efficiently for us. And so, and our teachers. So now we're planning out digital lessons. We're creating video content to instruct. We're actually shipping, materials to individual teachers' homes so they can set up like a real kind of, whiteboard workspace for our scholars. So those are all logistical challenges. The next challenge was to really make sure that scholars and families had access to technology. That was really important. That has been really important across the KIP and the district. Kudos to Atlanta Public Schools. They did an excellent job with that as well. Um, and so what we did was we had several days where we, braved the pandemic, right? We were dressed appropriately, masked up, and we distributed over 600 devices to Kipwoods and Park scholars alone, thousands of devices across the KIP Metro Atlanta region, to ensure that families had access to technology to continue learning. And then the other piece that is logistically challenging is that we take for granted that we believe that everybody should already have internet service. And that's just not true, especially within, my community, my immediate community. I'm sure you understand that, we have some social economic challenges within my community. So we had to work and partner together with the district, with AT&T, with Comcast, and to provide some mobile hotspots so that families could have access to Wi-Fi, so they could, scholars could learn. And it's been challenging. It doesn't, there's not a day that my phone doesn't ring to say, we have a family that's struggling with possibly Wi-Fi service, or they need paper copies of instructional content. But we're trying to get through it day to day. And those have been the challenges. Really,
Well, the
it really
digital
has.
divide is real, and I know that I've had several texts and phone conversations with the school superintendent, Maria Korstarfin, really urging the city and
Mhm.
others to help do all that we could to get our partners out there to provide that access. And I think people, if you have internet access, you sort of take it for granted, and it's not something that everybody has. But
Mhm.
you, because I know there's some parents out there that are watching. What tips or things that you can tell parents, and they found themselves challenging. Some people. Somebody said, I'm about
Mhm.
to fail the fourth grade with my child because they haven't been in that learning environment. So
Right,
what
exactly.
can you tell the parents out there?
Hmm. Well, the first thing I would say is to give yourself grace. Like I said, this is a complete 360 change for everybody. So give yourself grace. The second thing is that I really believe that you should put your scholar on a structure, on a structured schedule, to help keep them regimented within their learning. And the third thing is to communicate with your teacher. Really communicate with your teacher. You should have, if you're on the Google Classroom platform, you should have office hours every day with your, or at least 3 to 4 times a day with your teacher. And you should be able to communicate with your teacher to say, hey, I need help. I need some assistance on trying to um, help my scholar with fractions or whatever it can be, because you are going back to school technically with your scholar. And so I would really hone in on those things: structure, schedule, and just saying, you know what, I need help. And especially within the KIP family network, we all of our families have our cell phone numbers, so they can call anytime. And I'm sure within any other district, you have a method of communication where you can be able to contact someone to assist you. And please don't feel like you can't. You should be able
Well,
to, and you
thank you.
should.
So when everything goes back to close to what we used to know and kids go back to school, what are some of the things you're
Mhm.
anticipating there? What are the changes? And do you think kids are going to be on track because of this remote learning issue?
I think so I do think we'll be on track. I do think it's going to take some time of remediation, and that is just a personal Dana, Roberts kind of opinion here. Just even judging with my own children who are in school virtually. I do know that I'm going to have to remediate some of the skills that they learned through this virtual learning process. So I do believe that we're going to have a period of remediation, and just I really believe, and this is just me, just kind of advocating for children, is that we kind of ditch the testing, of it, and just really teach children next year with no pressure. And then we kind of assess with data a different way, a different data assessment. Um, and I just, I don't, it's going to be different. It's just, you know, it might be, we're not going to be able to congregate the way we used to. It's going to have to be a different approach with how we logistically place scholars in classrooms, how we transition scholars, even down, we're talking about even the cafeteria. My heart really aches for just, what does that look like for, sports and theater and dance and, things, those things that are really actually just as important as instruction. How do we facilitate those things to grow our scholar it holistically and keep them safe? And we're thinking about, what does a bus ride look like now? Because how can you social
Exactly.
distance on a bus? And so it's just really going, yeah, it's going to look different. So we're thinking through it, definitely, but we're just going to have to give all of us grace and patience and flexibility through the
Well, I do
process.
see that several people have joined us. We got a couple more minutes with Miss Roberts. So if you have any questions, please. And while you're asking those questions, I do want to ask you this because I've noticed you said it throughout the interview. And you don't call them just students, you call them scholars, which is a wonderful, wonderful way to refer to your students. So, why did you choose that language and why do you choose that language for your scholars?
Well, that is so within the organization of KIP Metro Atlanta, we have made a conscious choice to call our students and children scholars. And because we just believe from we are, kindergarten through college, we follow a child kindergarten through college, and we have elected to call them scholars with scholarly behavior. And we just have that expectation. And I think it sets the tone for what we expect from our scholars, and so it's just a natural what we've decided to do within KIPP
Well, I want
Metro
to ask
Atlanta.
you before we go,
Mhm.
how are you doing? I know that, I have had to make a big adjustment in going to a remote, working from home. I'm still adjusting. I've got wires everywhere and everything. And I miss my hugs from people and that physical interaction. And I'm doing fine. I just wanted to ask you, how are you doing?
Thank you for that. I'm doing okay. I miss hugging children. I miss seeing my staff. I miss actually hugging my mom. And so there's some components of this that are really, really hard. I miss seeing my friends. And so I'm doing okay. I'm making adjustments professionally. I am still doing the best that I can. I'm trying to take my own advice by, being structured and setting a schedule. And then trying to be supportive of my own children who are virtually learning, and not being so stressed. I've been able to be course, and some of my work has called to be out in the city and within the community. So I've been able to check on scholars and make sure that they're okay, and so that helps. It really helps because I miss them a lot.
Was
I
there
miss them a
anything
lot.
else you want to share before we wrap up?
Um, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to have this conversation and this platform to really spotlight the profession of education. I think I saw one of the people that put me in education was Mr. David York. I think he joined us for a little bit, who is a lifelong educator in Atlanta Public Schools. He was actually my middle school principal, and he is one of the reasons why I am in this work today. And I just, as you know, it's so poignant. It's Teacher Appreciation Day, and he was first a teacher, and he's still my teacher because I can call on him and ask him any question that I need. And so I just want to say happy Teacher Appreciation Week to Mr. York. I
Well,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you so much for coming. Happy Teacher Appreciation Day and week to all of you for what you do. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Believe me, like I said, the parents appreciate teachers more than ever now because they understand the nature of what you do on a one-to-one basis. So everybody thank Miss Dana Roberts, who is the director of
Oh,
Kip
thank you.
Woodson Park Academy, for representing not only Kip Woodson Park, but also all teachers in the profession of teaching. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Yes, yes.
All right, I think I can
Thank
just
you.
hit this button and you ready to go on. So bye bye.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I did it. All right, we did that. And thank you. And I saw many of you, Miss Reynolds and a few others from Springfield, all of you for joining us. This is Conversations with the Council President. Again, we want to thank Miss Dana Roberts for joining us. And we'll try to bring other people on so that we can talk about a variety of subjects. But if you know a teacher, or your student is at home, they can reach out to their teachers. This is National Teacher Appreciation Week, and I think this is their day. So it's good to reach out and let them know that they're appreciated because, as we all know, they are appreciated. So, a couple of things before we wrap up. I just want to say, since our last Facebook Live, the governor's shelter in place order has expired. It was on the 30th, and those have gone away. As you know, many of the restrictions have been eased, and I have been concerned. For the last 2 weekends, you probably have seen my posts where I'm concerned, having seen other people's posts, and looking at many groups, particularly our young adults, but not always just young adults. So I'm not going to put it all on them. And on all sides of the town, whether it's in and around Piedmont Park, some of the restaurants and bars around there in Midtown, as well as the park, to some of our malls. Oh, you all have seen the stories and you've heard about it. The biggest concern I have, one, is that they are not social distancing, but they're not even social distancing covering their face. So I'm going to encourage everyone, particularly some young adults, they may have been out there. Make sure that they are told and understand that they need to cover their face. And their covering their face protects someone else, and the person they're near, they're covering their face helps to protect them. We've all got to do work unless you have a medical grade mask on, an N95 or N99 mask, which are not readily available and people do not have access to them. And most those are in the healthcare setting. Those are the only thing that keep you from getting anything or expelling anything. But if everyone is wearing their face covering when they're out in the public, we are all helping to keep this spread down, as well as our social distancing. And so if you know some young adults and young people who may have been out there, Miss Reynolds probably heard about it, where they were out there on James Jackson Parkway, um, drag racing, Moreland Avenue drag racing, over at the West End Mall, and congregating in large groups. And then again, like I said, in the parks, Piedmont Park, the Beltline, Midtown. Please, people, I mean, really be considerate, because the relaxing of the restrictions for massage parlors, barbershops, and all that is already going to get us in trouble. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to start to see the numbers rise. It's just inevitable. But we are just forgetting, as acting as if it's over, and it's not. It's not over. So we had a successful remote council meeting yesterday, and we now have it so that if you want to give public comment, you can call in an hour before the meeting, and we play your public comment on air. We also do that for our committee meetings. I post those notices on Felicia Moore Atlanta City Council page, and I share it on my timeline and other places. So please make sure that you are still staying engaged and involved and active with your council. It runs on channel 26 if you have Comcast. It's also live on the city's website, I believe, but you can also get it through Facebook and Twitter. It's also there as well. Now, the mayor had put together an advisory committee to convene to talk about the future when we do open City Hall up. Right now, City Hall is closed. It is not open to the public, and we are all teleworking. But the mayor is being proactive and has brought together a group of citizens to come up with some ways that we are able to come back and be safe if the workspace. They had their last meeting was recently, and their recommendation should be coming by May 15th. Now, we're in a very critical part of city government with our budget. It's time for the budget. Our budget ends on June 30th. The council did receive the budget Monday. People are going to be start looking through that budget, and you should see on my timeline where we're going to post as soon as we get a good schedule on when the budget hearings will be. It's a very important time because we know that we've shut down a lot of things. Our sales tax revenue is very low. It's going to have an impact on our budget, and we will have to see how the mayor is proposing to deal with um, the budget gaps, as well as how the council sees how we're dealing with it. And so please keep your eyes open and tuned to my favorite time of the year, which is the budget deliberations. Let's see. The presidential primary has been postponed to June 9th. Many of you should know that, along with the city of Atlanta's most vote. You all have a application for an absentee ballot. I filled out mine. I've sent it in. Even if you early voted earlier on back in March, you still need to send that in because you need to vote in the presidential primary. I have not received my ballot. I think some people have started to receive their ballots, but keep your eye on it. If you did not receive an application, please contact the Secretary of State's office or your county, whether it's Fulton or DeKalb County in Atlanta, election board, and make sure they know it. Now, I do know in the Fulton County Election Board, the reason why I probably have not received my ballot yet is that unfortunately, one of the election workers who handled that died of COVID 19, and another one who's pivotal in that in the elections office was sick. I believe he is back to work, but they are sorely behind in getting those ballots out. So just be patient. But if you don't get it by June 9th, then there's a problem. And so we need to make sure that we deal with that. Hello, Rick. How are you? Let's see the 2020 census. Oh, please. If you have not, it only takes 2 seconds. I kept looking for more questions to ask, but you have received, I'm sure, not only your 2020 census form, but you also see it. Got 2 or 3 reminders by postcard or whatever in mail. It is extremely important that you fill it out. Everybody needs to be on it because as you see, these federal funds are coming down to cities for COVID-19, just to use an example. They're giving money for the CARES Act of cities over 500,000. Atlanta was barely made the five. We didn't even make the 500,000, but it was our legislators that had to push to get us in as a part of that bill. And to that result, the city will be receiving $88 million to be able to cover COVID related expenses, not to plug our budget, but to help with those expenses. And so that's why I'm saying it's really important that everybody's get counted. It's also important that because as we move forward after the census, we do reapportionment or redistricting. And based on, the population in the city and where that population is, we draw our district lines for our council districts, our school board districts, our state and federal districts. So it is extremely important for people. Make sure you fill out that census. If not, you can go online and do it if you have not done that already. So I have about 3 or 4 more minutes. If anybody has any particular subject or issue or question that you have for me as your council president, I would love to get them before my 30 minutes that I usually spend with you is up. But again, the key things are the census and making sure you fill out that absentee ballot. So, Ms. Pagnata, do you know how unions and or department heads are to make their budget presentations? So I know they're working out logistics now, Ms. Pagnata, because the budget hearings, unlike the other time, will be done remotely. And so I think I will make sure, I'm sure that they're not going to leave the unions out. It will probably be the same way we do it, even if we don't do it through a Microsoft Teams. They will be doing a call in. So I'm sure someone will be contacting you soon. You might want to just shoot an email to Jennifer Ide, who's the chair of the Finance Committee, and ask her so that you all can start the logistics. What about hazard pay for City of Atlanta workers? Miss Tiffany Allen, as I understand it, those workers that have been identified by the mayor's office as the ones to receive it have already been receiving the hazard pay. So if you're not receiving it, you need to talk to HR or your supervisor to find out if you met the criteria to receive that pay. Skylar, how is the Office of Inspector General being set up? The mayor's letter said it was being incrementally funded. I don't know, but I will certainly be one that is leading the charge to make sure that we fully fund that office so that it can be set up. We fought too long and too hard, and we know the needs are great. We're still hearing things in the news about people pleading guilty to giving bribes. We don't know who received the bribes yet, so we've got that. And there are a whole lot of other things that we know are being investigated or looked into that have not, excuse my phone, that have not been sort of reported out on. So we need our Office of Inspector General to be set up. And so just know, Mr. Akins, I will be one, I'm sure, of not alone with other council people, making sure that if that is not fully funded in the budget, that we get it funded in the budget. So I don't see any other questions. Hello, Miss McKenzie, and hello, Sora Ross. Good to see you all. Thank you all for joining us. While we are remote, we are going to try to keep in contact as much as we can. I would ask everybody to please stay safe. Again, wear your face covering when you're out in public. Only go out if it's necessary. Avoid large crowds. Don't be one of those that are in these large crowds, even if you have face covering. Practice your social distancing and be safe. One more question. Okay. Is there any compensation or comp time for workers that are teleworking from home? I have not heard that at all. COVID-19. I continue to see people spitting, okay, in public. Will legislation be put forward to prevent public spitting? I think that that's already a code violation. It's a misdemeanor violation of the code to spit. Yeah, that's already there. Of course, you have to witness it, and some police officer had to witness this and give that person a ticket. Let's see what is going on at the airport. Hey, Mr. Rastaford, as far as I know right now, many of them have been diverted from the airport by Marta. They are trying to divert them at the Garnet station and uh, get them to go to the gateway, which is right there. And the Hope team that worked out at the airport is on Marta and going to that Garnet station to better connect with some of the people that they had been already dealing with the air from the airport. There's 1.5 million that was approved at the council meeting, which was as a result of an executive order that the mayor had for 1.5 million to set up another hotel where those who don't have COVID-19 that are 65 and older, who may got COVID have serious consequences, the medically fragile, and there's a hotel for that, and so they're putting people in there, as well as there's an isolation hotel where either if they're in the shelters or unsheltered and they do test positive for COVID-19, there's a hotel that they're staying in until they are better and don't test positive anymore. Are we working with Marta to restore bus routes? As far as I know, Tiffany, Marta had a big decision to make when they had to go to a free bus service because they stopped people from coming in the front of the buses. You had to come in the back of the bus. And because people were coming in and being free, many of our unsheltered population, our homeless, were just riding the buses, and they were taking up a lot of the seats. So many of the workers who were trying to use the bus to get here and there did not have places to sit. Social distancing was very difficult. Buses were crowded, and so we were also losing. Marta was also losing a lot of revenue, so they cut a lot of the bus services to be able to try to for that. And I have not heard if and when they plan to restore it. They do have bus service, but it's very limited. Who is responsible? Hey, Miss Green, how are you? Virtual hug. Who is responsible for enforcing social distancing? There are still crowds in Greenbrier, including, let me see, the mall, and not complying. Um, there is no one really enforcing it because I don't know. I know that it is required and requested, but I'm not sure that there is a enforcement mechanism. So the police officers and public officers that are out there are asking people to do that. If you're on private property, the private property is supposed to be coming up with measures to make sure that that is happening. And so, homeless shelter. Oh, okay. So that's me responding. Thank you to my staff that's helping me to get you all the information. So we're a little past our time. Thank you for an engaging conversations with the council president. I'll see you next time. Again, like my page, Felicia Moore, Atlanta City Council President. Follow me. You will get all the alerts, all the notices that I can give you. And I thank you and thank you, Tiffany, and everyone else for thanking me. You all have a safe day. Wear your facial covering, do the social distancing, stay home as much as you can, and have a wonderful Cinco de Mayo. You all take care.